Uh, Good morning, students. Welcome back to the lecture series on design of RC structures and steel structures. Subject code 17CV72. We are in module 1, lecture number 15. In the last class, we have studied about the design of portal frames, kinds of portal frames, components of portal frames, and also we have calculated the loads coming over the portal frames. We have designed the component of portal frames like a slab, that is one-way continuous slab we have designed. And we have also calculated the bending moment and shear force diagram for the frame. And we have drawn that bending moment and shear force. Now further we need to design the component, that is beam and columns and footings. That will be done in the today's class. We will continue with the design of columns. I told it is columns, but instead of column, let us go with the design of beams here. So in the last class we have got the bending moment diagram. We can see the bending moment diagram last time we got is like this. So we are going to design the beam here. So beam will be designed in the two part. When we look it from the top end, we can see the beam. Let me show you the beam here, how it will be visible. 1 minute. This diagram we can see, and we can look into the beams like this. So we can see here, when we design this beam we can see, when we look it from the cut section, if we cut it here at this point, if you see it at midspan, these slabs act as a flange for this beam. So in midspan, we design it as a T-beam. But when we come to edges, we can see it is connected with the beams as well as a column in the bottom. So it cannot be designed as a T-beam because this length of beam will be connected with the column and it will be for a long span. And these beams are also continued here. So at the edges, the beams will be designed as a rectangular one. At the midspan, as a T-beam. That's the thing we should design here. So for midspan design, we'll get the moment as 216 minus of 102, that will be 114. And at the end span, it is 102 kilonewton per meter. So as I told, intermediate span will be designed, midspan will be designed as a T-beam. Let us design it here. So the design of T-beam section at midspan of the beam. The design moment we got is 171. How we got 171? That is nothing but we can see it is 114 multiplied by 1.5 factor. This we get 171. It is not 115, it is 114. How you got 114? That is 216 minus of 102. Because beyond this is a movement which will be acting at the midspan. So 216 will be not taken compulsory because 216 is a positive movement, 102 is a negative movement. So 216 minus of 102 we get 114. That will multiplied by factors, we get design movement at midspan of the beam will be 171 kilonewton meter. So you know, as per IS 456. Otherwise, as per IS 456, some table, if you go with the T-beam sections, we can see the formula to find the flange of the flange width is width of the flange, that is BF equals to L0 by 6 plus BW plus 6 times depth of flange. So depth of flange is nothing but a depth of your slab, that is 120 mm, that will be taken. And width of the beam, that is rib, that is 400 we got already. And L0, I want to say you that L0 is a span between the beams. The span between the beam is 8 meters, but we know that it is fixed at both ends. Here we can see the beams are fixed at both ends. So once it is fixed, the length will not remain the same. It will be 0.7 times the L. This I think you have learned in strength of materials for column analogy. There we will get to know what will be the length of the columns as per their support conditions. So when both ends are fixed, the support conditions of the effective length will be 0.7 times the total length. So it is 0.7 times 8 meters. We get 5.6 is the effective length for the beam in the midspan. So L0 is 5.6, LW is 400, and depth of flange is 120. Substitute all the values in terms of meters. We get the width of the flange will be 5.6 divided by 6 plus 0.4 width of the flange plus 6 times 0.12 we get 2 meters. 2 meters is the requirement of flange width while we design as a T-beam. But in case we can see here the length will be more. So substitute value of this in these equations, that is referring table number 58 from SP16, we can get the resisting moment factors given is KT equals to 0.459. If we want, we can go through the SP16 here. This is a SP16. I think somewhere how much he has given. Table number 58. So we can look into table number 58 here. So this is table number 56. This is chart we are getting already 52. Table number 58 they have given. Center columns we got. We are in beams here. So it will be about this. Table number 58. Table number 59. Table number 57. Yes, we can see here reinforcement percentage for doubly reinforcement sections. That FCK is 30, 58, 57, and 58. Here you can see the flexure limiting moment for resisting factors mu limit by BW D square FCK for singly reinforced T beams. It is clearly mentioned in your heading. You can see, look into this. This is for singly reinforced T beams, where we are using the steel as F5415 and the for M20 grade of concrete FCK is given here. We should substitute the value of FCK. So if you want to find the mu limit for this, what is the requirement of mu limit from this T beam? We need to know the mu limit by divided by BW D square FCK equals to this factor what we get. To know this factor, what we should get, dF by D, that is depth of flange divided by effective depth of your rib divided by BF divided by BW, that we have done here. BF divided by BW, DF by D. So what is BF is 2 meters. BW is divided by 0.4. 2 divided by 0.4, that will be 5 meters that we have got. And DF by D, that is 120 divided by depth, 580, we get 0.2. So knowing these two, 5 and 0.2, we can see here how much you are getting. DF by D is 0.2 here. So this is 0.2, somewhere we get 0.2 here, here this is 0.2 here. We got DF by D is equal to 0.2. And BF by BW, we have got 5. So 5 means we are getting the value of mu by limit divided by BW D square FCK is equal to 0.459. The same thing he has written here, 0.459, that is KT value. Once you know this, substitute in the limits. So mu limit equals to KT into BW D square into FCK. We can make it not D2, it will be FCK superscript. We can date it like this. So this is multiply, and again this is multiply. Substitute value, we get 0.459, 400, 600 square into 20. That is FCK divided by 1:6. That will be in terms of kilonewton meters. So we get 1321 kilonewton meter as the movement, limiting movement for this T beam. What is our mu here? Mu we have got calculated is, I think it is 171 kilonewton meter. This is resisting movement is 1321, but our load coming over this beam is 171. It is much more safe. So our beam is safe. Computing using table number 2 at its end span. Already it is safe against this. So the reinforcement PT value should be found by using formula mu by BD square. It is a single reinforcement. So mu by BD square, mu we are going to take it as 171 and B is 400, D is 580, mu by BD square. If you do it, we get the ratio as 1.2. And for this 1.2 from table number 2 SP16, we get the PT value as 0.359. So substituting PT is equal to 100 AST by BD. So AST is equal to 0.359 into BD divided by 100. Same thing as done here. So AST equals to 0.359, 400 into 600. That is the size of beams divided by 100. We get the area of steel required is 861 mm square. Going to use 20 mm dia bars here. The number of bars required will be 2.74. That is 3 numbers of 20 mm dia bars are provided at the midspan in the bottom. Then we come to the rectangular section. Rectangular section, we know that the moment is 153. How you got 153? As I told, the moment at end is 102 multiplied by the factors 1.5. We get moment equals to 153. Substituting value of this in this, we get 153 into 10 raised to 6. It is not 106. 153 into 10 raised to 6 divided by 400 into 600 square. So we get 1.1. Again, from using table number 2 from SP16, we get PT value is equal to 0.327. So substituting value for PT is equal to 0.322. We get the area of steel required is 784. As already we are using 20 mm dia bars in the midspan, let us continue with the 20 mm bar at the ends. So the number of bars required at end spans will be total area of bar, that is 784 divided by area of single bar. We get number of bars required is 2.5. Let us provide 3 numbers of 20 mm dia at the edge also. So the total number of bars provided at the midspan is 3 numbers of 20 mm dia, and at the end we are providing 3 numbers of 20 mm dia. So let us check it for shear force. The beam shear force means the force acting at midspan, that is WL by 2. At the end we get a maximum shear, so that will be WL by 2. VU is equal to WL by 2. So factoring it, we get 162 kilonewton is a shear force at end span. That divided by BD, we get a ratio of TOV equal to 0.675. But already PT value provided is 0.39. Required PT is something 0.34 something, but provided PT is 0.39, is almost near to 0.4. Now using table number from SP16 or IS 456, we use for TOSI value for M20 grade concrete for PT value of 0.4, we get TOSI equals to 0.432, which is much more less than the TOV. Hence, we need to provide the shear reinforcement. Where TOV is less than TOV, we are providing the shear reinforcement. So for shear reinforcement, again, we can use table number 62 from SP16, or we can use directly table from IS 456, where we get a VU value, that is the value of reinforcement left behind due to the shear force, that is 102 is the total load. A minus of resisting moment for TOV is 103. So left with the TOV US is 59. For 59 kilonewton, we need to provide the shear reinforcement. Knowing this 59 kilonewton, 59 divided by D, that is 59 kilonewton divided by D is 0.58. We get the spacing of two-legged bars will be about around 367, but we can provide two-legged bar at 300 minimum. Maximum spacing will be 300. So we can provide two-legged of 8 mm bar at 300 mm center to center. So we can see here how the reinforcement detailing is done here. This is a span 8 meters totally from center to center. So end spans of 2 meters, where at the top end we are providing 3 numbers of this one, and here 3 numbers of 20 mm. And the spacing of this bar will be at 8 mm at 300 at the edges, and as well as at the mid span. And if you take a section at 1-1 at the end span and 2-2 at the mid span, we can see at mid span we have got 2-2, where we have got three numbers of 20 mm at bottom, and 2 numbers of 12 at the top, and 2-legged stirrups of 8 mm at 300 center to center is provided in this fashion. Similarly, the reinforcement at this also provided. If you want, we can go with AutoCAD here. I will show how the reinforcement should be usually provided. Yes, when we design a beam here, we can take a beam like this. So the main reinforcement at a midspan will be at certain distance. Here it is main bars, and at end it will be like this. The reinforcement will be required in this fashion only. And to have a anchoring in the beams, we are bending the bar like this. These are the main bars required, but some 3 numbers are been provided here. So it is 2 bars will be continued at the edges like this. Because 3 numbers are provided here, 2 bars are continued like this. And similarly, here also out of 3 bars, 2 bars will be continued in this fashion. So let us provide these main bars like this with the coloring one. These are main bars. Remaining bars are you can see here. So this red color indicates they are main bars, and this white color indicates they are hanging bars at the edges at midspan and at the edges we can see. And in this between we get the stirrups like this. So they are provided at regular intervals. Like this, we are providing stirrups at regular intervals, and this regular interval stirrups is at 8 mm at 3 mm center to center. This is what exactly is required when we are providing reinforcement in this fashion. So this is regarding the beam design, where we can see the beam was designed as a T-beam as well as rectangular beam. So T-beam means it is not so complicated what you have learned in RCC. T-beam design is very simple. We know the design moment, some moment we are getting here. For this, we want to check whether resisting moment is less than or more than that. If it is greater than this, we need to design it as a doubly reinforcement. If it is less than this, we need to design it as a singly reinforcement. To check whether it is singly or doubly, we are using MU limit with the MU. So what we did, if you want to know the MU limit, the formula is given in SP16 of table 51. That is formula for MU limit will be MU limit divided by BW into D square into FCK. This is equal to some KT value. So that to know the KT value, you need to find the equation of BF by BW and DF by D. If you substitute this and if you get the values coefficient, and if from table 51 we get the coefficient for KT value. Once you know the coefficients, we can find the MU limit. Then compare it with MU. It is greater than MU, it will be singly. If it is less than MU, it will be doubly. Knowing this, once we found the area of steel, once we call it is W or singly, using the table numbers 2 and something 54, as per SP16, we are providing the reinforcement by taking mu by bd square as the coefficients. This is how we are going to design the beams. It is very simple by designing it as a T-beam, not complicated as we have learned in RCC. Next step is coming over to design of the columns. Yes, for column, what is the loads? As I told, for column, we can go with the same diagram. The moment at the column point is 1 or 2. But what will be the vertical load? Vertical node is nothing but the shear force at joint B or joint C. So shear force at joint B will be WL by 2. What is W here? 27. That is load at the beam into 8 by 2. That will be the shear force multiplied by the factors 1.5. We get the load at column H will be 1.5 into 102, that is movement. We get 153 as the maximum movement at end span, and vertical force will be 108 into 1.5. We get 162 as a vertical movement, which is the shear force at the beams. So knowing axial load and movement in one directions, according to SP16, from compression sections we can take a uniaxial column design where we get a movement in the one direction with the axial force at the top of the column. So the column size is already known, 400 by 600. Knowing this directly from referring SP16 from chart 22, before getting this into chart 32, we want to know this formula that we can see in the SP16. So SP16, after a certain page, we can see here, compression members will be the design here. So compression members means we get with the columns here. So here some notification of columns are given. What is the load applied, how it is applied, how the area of underlay. Here you can see one example is given, that is only axial loaded column example is given, the formula is given. Next comes is combined axial load and uniaxial bending. The method is given, how to find the area, what are the procedure. From this, after this, with one problem has been solved here. We can see example number 6 from page number 103, where a square column with uniaxial bending is done. So you can use the same procedure for this. For this, given data is given already. We have the given data. Only a thing is you need to know whether you are providing reinforcement in the two-way direction or in the four-way direction. What is two-way and four-way? That we can see in the tables. That is, we can see here. If the column reinforcement is provided all along the four sides, it is called four-way reinforcement. If your column reinforcement is provided only at the two sides, it will be two-side reinforcement. So for this, we can know mu by bd square value. First we need to calculate that. So mu by bd square, pu by fck bd. Pu is a ultimate axial force, mu is a ultimate moment. So moment by fck bd square, we got some value 0.053. Pu by fck bd square, we got one value of 0.033. Then from chart 32 of SP16, we can see here, once the formula is given, that is Pu by fck and mu by fck. Let us know the chart number 32 they have given. So charts are here, 32 chart, that is compression member with bending, rectangular sections, and reinforcement distribution equally on two sides. And to know this, first check it is Fi415 steel, and it is d dash by d is 0.1. What is d dash? The depth of the column, that is effective depth of column divided by depth of column. We get some value. Knowing this value with this table and reinforcement provided on two sides, we can check the value, that is Pu by fck and mu by fck bd square. Pu by fck, we came to know the value here. So Pu by fck is 0.033 and 0.053. So 0.033 means somewhere we are getting it here, 0.033 somewhere we get it here, this point, and here it is 0.05. 0.05 means 0.1 is there, 0.5 something here. So somewhere in this point we get the values here. This what I am showing direction. Here it will be 0.3. 0.3 means somewhere we get it here, and here 0.5 means it is at this point exactly. Let us show it in a small direction like this somewhere here. So here we can see when we check this line, we can see this line I'm showing along this. Here we got 0.0, 0.02, 0.06 until we get here. This is nothing but a P by fck is equal to some coefficient. So P by fck will be 0.02. So if we look at this into from the table chart, P by fck is equal to 0.03. Substituting value, we get 0.6, but a minimum reinforcement in the column should be provided 0.8 times the gross area of the column. So 0.8 for here we get references 0.6 and it is less than 0.8. So minimum steel should be provided. 0.8 means we get the area of steel required is 1920. So 1920 means number of bars required is 1920 divided by 16 mm dia bars are used, that is 314. We get 6 numbers of bars are required, 6.1. So let us provide 8 numbers of 16 mm dia bars, not 16, it is 20 mm dia bars. So 20 members of so provide 8 numbers of 20 mm dia bars. So lateral ties, we need to know already provided reinforcement is too high. So minimum criteria for a lateral reinforcement is provided, that is the rings. So rings, we are using which kind of diameter bar, whether 8 or 6. 8 mm dia bar is used here. So what could be the spacing of that? 16 times the diameter of main bar. 16 times diameter of main bar is 20. So 16 into 20 we get 320. Then 48 times the lateral tie, 48 times the 8 mm dia, that is 48 into 8 we get 384 the spacing. The least lateral dimensions of the column, that is 400. So all this minimum 400, 320 and 384 are greater than 300. we need to provide minimum spacing in the steps will be 300. So let us select 300 here, and we are providing stirrups tires 8 mm diaph 300 mm center to center. So this is regarding the design of columns. Next comes is the design of footing. So before going to design of footing, let us conclude with some details here. Students, is there any problem with this design of columns and beams? Is anybody having any doubts? Shall I know it? Before continuing it, let us know if anybody is having any doubts, so that once you go for footing, we can't come back to columns and beams. So is anybody is having doubts? Students, anybody? Shall we continue with the same thing, or you want to stop it here only? Anybody can answer? Jayashri,
Yes, sir.
whether we should stop it here only, or we have gone through this, any idea regarding this, whatever told in the today's class? That is design of T-beams, rectangular beams, design of columns. Whether we need to continue with the design of footing only. What to be done?
Continue, sir.
Continue means once I continue with the design of footing, it will complete the design. That's what I am telling you. Let us do one thing. Today we'll stop it here only. You download the SP16 code books. Go through the design of compression members, that is axial load columns with uniaxial bending, so that whatever parameters are there in that, go through that. Take any example from your books. Otherwise, take an example from that same XP16. Solve it by your own in your hands, in your papers, so that you will come to know what are the parameters affecting to design of columns by using SP16. Otherwise, it will not get into you in your mind. It will become very clumsy. And at the same time, beam design is shown. That is how we are going to design the T-beam of the mid-span section and a rectangular section at end span. So T-beam also, some formula is there. So the same problem what I have shown here, solve it by your own. That is taking beams as well as the column. Solve it your beam by using SP16. You will come to know the things, how the parameters will work on the beam before going to design of footing. Tomorrow we will continue with the design of footings, and I think tomorrow is Thursday, so it will be the last class of this week. We will conclude with the design of completion of portal frames, so that in the next week we will start with the water tanks. Otherwise, if you want to have a revision over this, we will do it in the Monday class. And as the offline classes are scheduled from tomorrow, you need to come with your COVID test report with a negative and a letter from your parent concern telling that they are ready to send their students to the college. As per your 8 members are been registered already to come over to college. If you are more interested, you can come and join your student friends. Okay? Is there anybody having any doubts? If you are having, it will be answered properly. ಯಾರಿಗಾರ ಏನು ಡೌಟ್ಸ್ ಐತಿ?